Well, looks like in the last elections, the British people didn't really vote for the best, the most intelligent of people. Well, and I'll explain why.
I'm shocked. Yeah, okay. Yeah,
So it looks like the UK is backing itself into a financial corner, as one part of the government is saying one thing, and the other part is saying the complete opposite. So as we speak, this is a Tuesday,
mhm,
around about 11 o'clock local time.
yeah,
Rachel from accounts is having a word with her counterpart in the US, Scott Bensent, to try and get a zero tariff trade deal. A bit of a hapless journey, if you ask me, but at least she might be able to get in a show or two while she's there, because I know that she's into the arts recently.
yeah, yeah.
So all won't be lost, eh, Rach? She will be insisting how the UK has a special relationship with the US, and that this alone should be the basis of free trade between the two nations. Seems like an obvious, solid justification. After all, the US president will make a state visit to the UK probably in September, right?
Yeah. Okay.
He'll kiss the King's ring and give a speech to both houses in Parliament. Wait, what? Give a speech in Parliament?
Yeah.
Not if a group of MPs have their way, he won't. They branded him a serial liar and have sent a letter to Lord Metcalfe of Alkvist, the Speaker of the House of Lords, claiming it would be inappropriate for Trump to give his speech in the Palace of Westminster. Headed by Lord Fawkes of Cummack, they said Trump was acting in bad faith because of tariffs against steel, aluminium, and cars. So instead of being diplomatic and saying nothing for the time being, they're trying to scupper his state visit, putting a price tag on it, if you like.
Okay.
You know, he removes all his tariffs. He's allowed to speak for 20 minutes. Now, if I know this, then for sure President Trump does. He's more privy to political information than this humble soul. And I'm sure he is privy to the fact that the UK is also trying to put the kibosh on the US peace deal in Ukraine by going haha with Germany to send long range missiles to Zelensky. See, the UK can't allow the US resolve the conflict, otherwise the US will take all the spoils. We touched on this in another
Yeah.
podcast.
Yes.
Once again, the US president has seen this.
Mm.
Of course, he must be. So his shallow words are coming out of kissing Kia his mouth. I'm sure it's a conspiracy theory, by the way. It can't be true, could it? His government are doing everything to try and make Trump's life more uncomfortable. And the thing is that the moment Trump has all his has at this moment Trump has all the aces, because in the Ukraine conflict, if he sees that Russia wants peace and Ukraine wants peace and he wants peace, but the UK and Germany don't, it might be that the latter two countries might get a slap in the way of economic sanctions, which neither can do with at this stage of the game, just to keep them in check. So in the case of the UK, diplomacy should rule and don't get under Trump's feet. That's if Starmer can control his government. Otherwise, and I've had the cane at school, it's not going to be very nice. Breaking news, by the way, this just in. Education Minister Stephen Morgan said this morning that Trump should give a speech in Parliament, as he says the UK needs a strong and effective relationship with the US. At least one person in government can see common sense, if you ask me. So, as the UK is in a precarious situation this morning, another downgrade has been done on the economy in the UK. Inflation is set to rise at an astounding amount. The UK government is still piss-assing around with Trump, trying to make him his life difficult, and that's not what you should be doing at this stage in the game.
Right. Yeah.
Off you go.
All right. Okay. Well, yeah, okay. Difference of opinions. Okay. Democracy. Okay. These people are entitled to write or say what they want. Yeah. Um, they're they're evidently not. Um, I don't know if they're in the majority. I don't think they are. Yes, it's always been said, but if you've got a visiting head of state of note, um, and I do feel it's appropriate that given things have gone between us, and okay, if we have got a special relationship, that maybe the 47th president of the United States of America should be allowed to speak to both to the houses. Yeah, regardless of whom they are. Yeah, if they've got a special relationship, regardless of whom they are.
It's
Um,
important to note, Mark, that the 45th president of the United States was
hmm,
barred from giving a speech in Parliament also.
well, yes, well, yes, but we're in different times now between when the 45th and the 47th were there. Yes. So, um, yeah, in essence, yeah, I don't know. I mean, that is for our wonderful political leaders to sort out amongst themselves how much they want to slide or do whatever they want. Yeah. With regards to tariffs, you and I can see the game being played there by the US. It's leveling the playing field a bit. Um, if if people want a global economy, then we play with a global economy. Yeah, we make it fair for everyone. Um, we and then people always moan about the US being involved with everything, and then want the US to pay for everything. Yeah, effectively. Yeah. Well, I'm afraid in the new world that we're living in, and people keep talking about the end of times. I think it is the end of times. There's a new era coming in, and we got to be prepared for it. Um, we do appear, and I don't care what age the politicians are, appear to have people that are stuck somewhere in the 1920s, apart from anything else. Yeah. Um, yeah. Well, I mean, whether or not you and I aren't globalists, but we can see we now have a global economy, countries wanting to trade with each other. What has the Italian leader done? She's gone and um, met with the president. Yeah. And, you know, stated Italy's case. Wouldn't it be good for, Northern Europe? Sorry, yeah, Europe, but a country there. I mean, Italy's breaking ranks with the EU, let alone anything else.
I was just about to say she was there representing Italy and not the EU.
Yeah, yeah. Um, maybe we could see her in the near future, or not so distant future, maybe Italy withdrawing from the EU. That'd be quite something.
And I think Trump he appreciated that, you
Mm.
know. I think Trump appreciated that.
Yeah, possibly. I mean, yeah, okay. I mean, there's one thing with Donald Trump. He is quite transparent. You can see what he says sometimes. You can always tell when he's just playing something lip service because that's quite obvious as well. He's not the best actor in the world, or he's deliberately not the best actor in the world. Yeah, he's a showman as well, But he's a sharper cookie than anyone gives him credit for, as he's
Oh,
proved on
very,
more than
very.
one. And he plays at not being the sharp cookie sometimes as well. Even I can see that. Yeah, I mean, okay, you never see him get totally caught out.
No.
Yeah, I mean, okay, does he give some rhetoric sometimes? Of course he does. He's an all-American boy. America first. Yeah, America's going to be the greatest to him. Okay, shame we don't have some politicians like that in the UK. Yeah. Shame we don't have a few like it in Brazil as well. But we did have, didn't we? And that got done. Yeah. Um, it, it's yeah, it right. That's one thing that's interesting. Oh, trade. Um, well, the position that UK has, are we respected in the world? Possibly. Um, for what? Well, we're respected for our technical capabilities still. Yeah. And I'm going to say some strong points for the British. We are considered quite polite. Our military is seen. although depleted, is quite resourceful. I know this because you talk to people from different places. Yep. Yeah, your average squaddy could probably show up on the beach and still manage to take on some people with some guts and everything. Um, yes. And well trained and used to actually working with limited resources, and that's not new. That probably dates to the Napoleonic Wars. Underpreparedness was always a thing of the British Army. Yeah, we'll just show up and we improvise almost. Yeah. In the words
I
of
think
Black
I
Hat.
think I
Yeah.
think Britain is known more for its culture
Yeah.
rather than for its prowess, rather than for its current state of play
Yeah.
in society.
Well, again, with culture, I mean, there are certain elements in the British establishment are trying to get rid of that. Probably things that Trump admires as well.
Fortunately.
Um,
But when I say culture, I mean being polite, like you
yeah.
said, being
Yeah.
polite, always supporting the underdog,
Yeah.
that sort of thing. I mean, here I'm known as being a gentleman
Yeah.
because
Yeah.
not because I'm polite particularly, but
Mm.
because I'm British or English, as the case may be.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
You are. Yeah.
automatically I'm a gentleman, and they don't call me I don't know, entrepreneur of the year,
Yeah.
or really hands on with the monetary system,
Yeah. But no.
because I think these days Great Britain isn't. But I
Mm.
think, like I said, it's more of our traditions of being noble and being
Yeah.
people recognized as abroad.
Yeah. I mean, yes. I mean, my wife's family think I'm polite, and what do they call me? Simple. I thought, simple. Yeah. Oh no, no, not simple as in simple. Simple in simplistic in my outlook. There, you give me a room with a basic chair and all that, and I'm happy. I don't need grandeur. Yeah. Other people from other countries, just in Europe and other places, yeah, want all the home comforts. Me, yeah, I'd be happy in a shed in a shed somewhere if somebody's willing to give me that to live in, which I'd be quite grateful for. If I don't have anything else, something is better than nothing, and I'll work on it, build up from that. Yeah. Um, yeah, I'm polite. I would like to think I'm polite. There's a couple of people have found out that push the wrong buttons, and I am very British, very Essex boy British as well. Yeah. You'll have a 1.88-meter guy looking down on you in quite an angry face, not just raising my eyebrows. Yeah, the guy found it out the other day. Um, but it's a very, very yeah, you say culturally. I mean, get back to the Trump thing. Um, maybe we shouldn't secede to everything he demands. I don't believe Trump has actually demanded anything of the British. I mean, he said tariffs and he said negotiate, and he's been on record saying, "I think we can negotiate with the British." Yeah. Um.
Rachel needs to work out is how she can level the playing field, how without losing money.
Yeah.
Because if she decided to go zero tariffs,
Yeah.
both sides,
Yeah.
the UK is going to lose an awful lot of money with the tariffs that whatever
Yeah.
they had on the US.
Yeah.
So
Well.
that's gonna give her even. And I mentioned this in a podcast some
Yeah.
time ago.
Yeah. Yeah. Well.
That the,
Right.
the UK is going to be minus this money coming in. It was
Yeah.
about the
Yeah.
budget, and she didn't take into account the fact that the UK is going to lose because of zero tariffs.
It's just when you said Rachel needs to work out. That's the worrying statement. Anything after that is a bit superfluous. Sorry, I'm joking. Yeah. No, she'll have people good. Hopefully, she'll have good advisors around her who will accordingly inform her of the situation. Yeah. Um, yes. It is a. I mean, okay, it's a worrying time. Um, I mean, I don't know if it's been confirmed yet. This trip in September. Um, quite what it will achieve. Okay. To me, she yeah, Rachel's gone there. At least she's flying out there and trying to do something. Um, we do need to have the US on side, not necessarily be part of Team US. Okay, there's going to be differences of opinion. There always have been. there's always been mini trade wars with the British and the US as well in different places. That's always happened. I know I mustn't say that, but it's a thing that's not unprecedented. Unprecedented, yeah, unprecedented for the president to have to deal with this. Yeah, Reagan had a few issues with the British where he went ahead and did things. Yeah, that caused some diplomatic issues. I think Grenada was one, if I remember. Um, so yeah, the Americans will always act in the interest of the Americans. Okay, fair enough. The British should be acting in the interest of the British. There are times when we should be aligning our interests. And if there is a special relationship other than just language, which I even doubt that sometimes, yeah, yeah, two nations divided by a common nation, a common language, yeah, um, then we should use that. I don't know if I actually believe a bit in the special relationship anymore. Um, I've never really, possibly the last time it came into play was again with Thatcher Reagan. Again, they got on well diplomatically, a little bit aligned with ideology, not totally. Reagan was probably a little bit concerned sometimes about how Thatcher would react to things. I thought I could do without an angry phone conversation from the Iron Lady, yeah, as the Russians used to call her, yeah. She had her point of view, and she would inform you, yeah. Um, I mean, yeah, we will stand with the US on things we believe are right. Um, it just so happens that this thing about Ukraine at the moment is a good old geopolitical struggle. Um, what's what's going to be the outcome of that? It's obvious that the UK and Germany can't afford to sustain efforts with the Ukraine indefinitely. I don't know what they're thinking if they do think they can, or they're rather hoping it all goes that way and Ukraine will give up their commodities quite easily. And yeah, happy days.
Well,
Um,
that's banking on.
yeah, if I don't know what will happen if Ukraine suddenly turn around and all this over and say no, we need them for ourselves. Quite what will happen then, which is possible. I mean, Trump's the only one who said I'm going to put American feet on the ground there, engineers and etc. to deal with it and tell Russia you better not hurt any of them or harm them because you will have an issue. Um, UK UK said and Germany or whatever said we're going to put troops on the ground there, which is an aggressive move to be seen by the Russians. Yeah, yeah. Trump has said I'll put civilians there. Could be military civilians or military engineers, but yeah, I guess. Um, but it is a yeah, this is something that's got to be resolved. I'm sure Mr. Trump will be informing Rachel from accounts where he stands on the situation.
I'm not even sure if he'll be speaking to her. I think she's only going to get dealt
Well,
with uh,
well,
by Secretary of.
well. Let's be honest. That's people say not going to meet the head guy. Yeah, yeah. I know from personal experience that even meeting the head of a department when you're trying to get things done is not always the best idea. Nothing against the head of departments. Yeah.
Which is why I believe that her her journey to the
Mm,
US
mm,
is gonna uh, bring back the same as what Starmer's did.
mm. Yeah.
No, absolutely nothing. And Rachel, she's put herself on that cross. She's gonna have to bear it because she's gonna have to bring something back. And if she brings absolutely nothing back, you
Mm.
know, she's just
Uh,
gonna highlight herself again as being a failure.
well, I do honestly believe that there is actually a belief in the U.S. administration that anything that they deal with the current UK administration superfluous because there could be a change of administration a bit sooner than people think. Um, so, I mean, that's what I understand. I mean, that's what some people I've spoken to in the US believe on the ground. that there's going to be very soon a change of administration in the UK, possibly within this year. Don't forget, Americans look at the internet as well. US people look at what's being said here. They see the images, they see what's being said. I haven't heard many complimentary things from anyone in the US about Starmer, if they actually know who he is. There's a strange guy met the president the other day and gave him a letter from the king. What does that mean? Yeah. Yeah. There's even talk about the king not being around for much longer as well.
Of course, he's got his pain
Yeah.
in the ass as well, hasn't he?
Well, yes. But yeah, we shall see. I mean, as a patriotic British person, I wish Rachel from accounts best of luck. Yeah, in any political endeavours she may have. Um, I'm not over hopeful, but hey, let's just see. I don't think you're dealing with a totally unreasonable administration. Um, Hopefully not just paying her lip service. Um,
It's going on the backs of some MPs wanting to banish Trump from the Parliament building. So, you know, she's on an uphill struggle
mm,
when you're talking when you're talking diplomacy, because if she tries to give a compliment to anybody in the US, they're
yeah,
going to think she's just lying. You know, it's a difficult situation for her to
yeah.
couldn't this thing about the MPs sending a letter to the Speaker of the House of Lords couldn't have come at the worst time.
Well, okay. I think Donald Trump, he thrives a little bit on this, as well.
Oh,
Don't forget. Yeah,
because he's got nothing to lose.
yeah, um, yeah. I mean, it's something. I mean, um, there's a handful of people. Okay, they've got a right to do it. I'm not suggesting that everyone's got a right to express an opinion. Okay, diplomacy being what it is, but even then, you have a right to have an opinion. Um, I I do think high on the US agenda is about the UK's freedom of speech
Freedom of
issues,
speech, of course, it's huge. It's huge.
um, which we're looking in from the outside, and even we can see it. Yeah. Um, I would be. I mean, even if could you imagine us doing this podcast and we don't say anything really controversial. We comment about things. Yeah. We would probably have a knock on the door by now with some some police constables. Yeah. Um, Informing us that maybe we're being watched and could we please refrain from um being so opinionated.